continuing today, and it's basically celebrating mediocrity. Well, should I say, Stoneboy says that celebrating mediocrity is hurting our music industry. And well, let me just just read a bit, and then we'll play the sound. Or should we just go ahead and play the sound? Okay, so let's go. Whilst we're waiting to play the sound, I just want you to know, dancehall musician Stoneboy has expressed his displeasure with the way some Ghanaians habitually criticize entertainment personalities in a negative manner. Now, in a video shared on Instagram, Stoneboy urged Ghanaians to stop celebrating mediocrity, warning that it is having a detrimental impact on the creative arts industry. Now, and I quote, he says, in the Ghanaian industry, there is a need for a mindset shift. We need that mental shift because celebrating mediocrity is one of the things hurting our industry. So now let's take a listen to Stoneboy on that.
As Ghanaians in the Ghanaian industry, a need for a mind shift. A mental shift. We need that mental shift because it's going to be important for us. Celebrating a lot of mediocrity is one thing that is hurting our industry, because if we want to progress, then we have to do progressive things, but we are not mentally changing to adapt to stuff that would actually cause the progress to happen. There's a need for speak highly of the positive moves that we make towards progress, rather than immediately compare it, chastise it. Is it that the people feel like they're supposed to be like an overnight success? Before any Nigerian artist in my time would have won a Grammy, they would be doing these things.
Exactly.
You see like 5 Nigerian artists, A-listers at the Grammys, inclusion. You see narratives like, if it was not for Davido, Chris Brown would not have won a Grammy. I love such narratives. Here in Ghana, I please to say that you would find out that we create narrative that would rather bring us back. But how is it that we have now PhD that is supposed to be standing for something high has been colonized
Pull him down.
to become pull him down? What if we now change it and say pull him there? How about that?
Break hits.
Right, so that was the voice of Stoneboy, and I've been joined this morning by Mr. Robert Clark and Mr. Edem Totome, and this morning, obviously, we're gonna, delve into this, obviously, and I believe that if you also have any comments to share or opinions, you could actually send us via WhatsApp number 0548841039, or drop your comments via social media pages at Hit 1039 FM at Doreen Avenue, and I'll be reading them right here on the show for you. And back to the studio. Who do I start? Edem.
Hey, man.
Yes, this is what Stone God said. And is that the case?
For me, regardless, there are some negatives in the system, but that notwithstanding, there are positives also in the system. Very, very huge positives. And it stems from support systems. I mean, and if you look at some of the support systems like the media, events, award schemes, among others, all aimed at elevating the artist to a certain level. And I mean, it is indeed true that we have certain pull him back, and like what he's saying, at times the pull him down, and the fans at times coming hard. That is why I at times expect that the artists will also in a way rein their fan base in when they are on ballistic among others. So, in doing so, the artists are also trying to shape the mindset of their fans. So, like if they are doing certain things to other artists, the artists themselves will rein them in that this should be the focus. Let's not do that because this is where we are going. And if we do this, we're getting there. So, by so doing, they are conscientizing the fan base, and it can reflect on other people. Recently when there was fuel reduction, we saw that one company took the lead, reducing their products. Others started following. So at times, if the artists are doing that, I will encourage the artists that they need to do that when they see their fans doing certain things, passing negative comments about their colleagues, among others, the successes of their colleagues. Because at times, an artist will go and chalk a success, and the other fan base is pulling
Or
that
teasing.
success or belittling the success. I mean, when the artists come in to say, hey, that shouldn't be the focus. This should be the focus. Let's stop this. The next time, the other artists will learn, or the fan base from the other side will learn. And by so doing, we are reorienting everybody, and we all fall in line. But normally, when we keep quiet on those things, we do not talk about it, and it festers, the other part will also pick it tomorrow. The other side will pick it tomorrow, and we are not making that progress. So, I mean, we need to, make that conscious effort. And since they are leading their brand community, the artist needs to preach this more so that that shift and change in mind will come. And also, I will urge the artists to focus. You know, Doreen, some of us are close to artists, and at times you realize that at times the few negatives worries them so much.
It's bigger than even the positive.
Yeah, where there are bigger positives to celebrate. I mean,
Just one tiny unnecessary thing.
comment, or one person who is nobody knows will pass some comment and is given prominence. What it means is that you make such people feel like, oh, we are important. They will pay attention to us. So let's do more. So, because, this is why from some time ago, it made Twitter agenda really thrive, because they know that when we come at them, they will pay attention, and we will trend. So let's do it. So it's about time that they shift their focus from some of these negative comments and focus on this is the positive side of life, and look at how the positive outweighs the negative. But at times too, you can't blame them because of the biological wiring of our brain, the negative bias that the brain normally highlights on negative things than the positive side. And that's why, at times we say that the media loves negative news. No, because it is biological that the brain is wired that way. So but there is a way of dealing with that negative bias of the brain so that it doesn't pay too much attention to negatives by positive. And by so doing, we'll be able to, get there. We all want to make that move, because when it happens, it trickles down to everybody, and we all be happy. Even the fan base, who ordinarily may not directly get something, will get something to boast about. And that is the trickle down effect on them when we chalk a lot of global success. So let's all be involved. Let's all ensure that we are contributing to the mind shifts of the people.
Robert, is this the first time we're hearing something like this? An artist, speaking about mediocrity in the industry and all that?
Not necessarily. I think that so for me, when I assess the statements, there are two key points to be mentioned. There's one about mediocrity. There's one about pulling down.
Yes.
You understand? So with respect to mediocrity, let me just say this: mediocrity and pull him down kind of thing, or criticism put together. There was a time when people were bashing Sarkodie when he actually mentioned that everybody should level up. Like those in the media space and stuff, like
exactly
to level up, that kind of statement, and then people didn't really buy into the idea that he said they should also level up. And the truth is, everybody needs to level up. Really, you artists are not going to be able to. We can't always be telling artists to level up when what the roles we are supposed to be playing within the ecosystem, we are at the same level that we are at. And usually what's funny is that those who go hard at people, they sometimes can't even take criticisms. They always want to talk about people, and yet when you speak about them, they try to find defense. At the end of the day, you just need to understand that nobody is above criticism, really. Yeah, but I think the most important thing is to try and make it as constructive as possible. In terms of community building, Stoneboy's points clearly speak to it, because what he's trying to say is it can't always be. And let's not be too quick to constantly, point out the negatives. One funny thing I tell people is, look, if somebody has 80%, it's still regarded as grade A. So don't come and highlight the 20% and make it as if the 20% is the highest mark the person got. If you understand what I'm saying, I did work. I got grade A. The breakdown of the grade A, I had 20% that was wrong, and I had 80% right, but I still got grade A. And yet you come and focus on the
Only
grade,
the
the 20%, and then I'm like, okay, because sometimes what you hear is, oh, the show was good, but then you start.
There's always a but.
So the show was good, no? You hear only like 1% conversation or contribution from the person. The rest of the person's submission is focused on the 20%. And the question here is it like you, the person who is speaking, you lack the ability to appreciate what went into the 80%? And sometimes it is true. Because there are people who sit on platforms and they critique or criticize people, and they are not able, like a whole program is done, they can't speak to lighting, they can't speak to choreography, they can't speak to costumes, they can't speak to movement on stage, they can't speak to camera artist contact, they can't speak to the organization. There are several aspects of any event, for example, that when it takes place, you can speak to if you want to speak to, if you have the intel or insight in or the ability to be able to understand and speak to these things. However, you would find that the most people come to talk about the regular. The mic went off. Yeah, everybody saw that. It went off. Yes, okay. And it just was like
He slipped.
0.2% about this. Okay, yes. And then that becomes the subject of conversation, from beginning to end. So then you analyze and you realize, okay, it is also because the person person doesn't understand the entire space to be able to make some cogent, contribution or submission with respect to everything that has taken place. Yes, there are people who are able to make some positive submissions, and you can clearly see that, okay, this person is hammering something that is of relevance. But sometimes, all you hear is a negative. You understand? And it doesn't really help, especially those who are in a particular space. Because it's like living a life under constant scrutiny, and like when you have a child and every day all you do keep on doing is comparing your child to Asimasebanuwehu, and now you're not doing well, and this particular that kind of stuff. It's like every day you're talking down on the child. There's no way the child is gonna grow and be able to flourish, that kind of stuff. It's like even if the person wants to do well, they want to do well in your absence. You understand? So I think that his call is a call from a person within the space who understands what these negatives mean to them. They are the artists. Artists are emotional. They create from their emotional wells, and we need to be able to understand how they, yes, do speak about things, do elevate the game, and project their positives when they do it. And when something is wrong, find a measured way of saying it, just so that we keep them in the game, because you can't speak them out of the game. They need to keep doing what they are doing. And our submissions are supposed to be constructive. The other challenge that we usually have is that sometimes people only talk about the negative and there's no solution from them. So you keep proffering or saying the negatives, and you are not saying the positive, or you're not even giving the suggestions about what can be positive. And that kind of stuff. So if it's constructive, I think nobody's going to question you that much. And we need to be able to understand the dynamics that actually creates whatever system it is that helps our artists get where they've gotten to. At the end of the day, when you see our artists without labels achieving what they have achieved, you need to be able to praise them even more, because Charlie, on one stretch you are saying our brothers in Nigeria have done well.
Yes.
And on the other stretch you're saying we have not done well. However, let's not forget that Davido, with all his money, still is on a label.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And our people here are not.
Yep.
You understand?
Some are inking some aspect
Exactly.
of label deal.
So if you take a certain whiskey, it's on a label.
Yeah.
Our people here are not. So you do the comparison and everything, but always, make sure it comes with a lot of insight. Exactly what is the situation? So you don't just say and why is it? No, Charlie. You understand? There's a machinery behind an artist, and there isn't. And so when the person is able to achieve 10% on their own, You need to understand what that 10% really means. You understand? So yeah, it is what it is. So these are conversations that I think we need to be able to have, because it's calling for mind shifts, and it will take some time because it's not easy to be able to cure a system.
Yeah.
But then we need to keep holding it until, and especially those of us who sit on the media platforms, we need to
Right.
be able to do that. When we have pedestrians passing their remarks, they may not necessarily know that much because they are usually not too vested in that space. But those of us who sit on the platforms where we're investing our time and money and everything into this particular space, we ought to be the light. When we are speaking on media platforms, we ought to be able to say the right things just so that we can educate them, because ours, you can't take it with a pinch of salt. You can take that from the pedestrians with a pinch of salt, because you can always say that they don't know too much. But so the responsibility and onus really lies on us, because not everybody can succeed or can grow well in constant criticism. It doesn't really help.
But Robert, one will also say that when it comes to that, it's like in our everyday lives. It's not just the industry. Even you find yourself in an office space, in a maybe like anywhere you find yourself, it's like you cannot have it 100% where it's all positivity.
True.
And even in our space, now look at it. You will sit here, Adam will sit here, and maybe you want to talk about, let's say, an artist, and you decide to only constantly focus on the positivity or positive aspects of this artist. Trust me, how many people do you think will listen to it?
It depends on how you really say it. And it's because of culture again. What have we been feeding people for a long time? And what have we made them accept as true reportage, so to say? If our everyday conversation has been negative and we've trained them to accept negativity, then when you come and sit down and you're saying positive and it's not being said in the right way, they don't even want to listen. But if we are able to strike that balance consistently, it's going to help. Now, nobody is saying that everybody is above criticism. I
Right.
said that earlier, that nobody is above it. However, we just need to be able to strike the balance. You speak about the negative, you also speak about the positive. Even when you're speaking about negative, try to go a step further and make it constructive so that people can pick some things from it. You understand? So, but don't, what Stoneboy said, let's not be too quick. That's one line. And another
Right.
line says we shouldn't constantly. So then it feels like, okay, that becomes it's like some platforms you listen to it and it's constant negativity. You understand? And when they want to say even the positive, it's like, oh, wait, there were there. But
But
yeah, that's what I'm
always a
saying.
but
You,
somewhere.
your conversation, even when you want to praise, is the why there is just 1% of your submission. And the rest is still negative, So all we are saying is, yes, I mean, nobody. So again, nobody's above criticism. You will always get that, and artists need to be able to know that once you are in this particular space and it's about the public, they will always come at you, say something, this and that. So the first thing is to ensure yourself and ensure your emotions, guard against it essentially. However, what I'm saying is that the onus is on us, those of us who sit on the media platforms, to be able to go deeper. Highlight the positives when we need to highlight the negatives, and be constructive about it. But even the positives, let's also project it, because the truth is success breeds success, and so we need to always project that so that people can also work with that and to trumpet it. If I sit here right now, so there was a classic case. A teacher wrote 10 things on a board, and one of them was wrong, and she intentionally wrote the wrong one.
Okay.
And when by the time she finished the 10th one, everybody was the students were laughing like, "What's wrong?"
What's
So,
wrong?
oh, number 9 is wrong.
What happened today?
Good. So Adam was initially saying that our brains are wired,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
kind of stuff. Because we say when the dog bites a man, it's no news. When man bites a dog, it's news.
news,
That kind of
yeah.
stuff. Yes, but it is also the same reason why we are all we are supposed to be intentional and deliberate about these things, because we are thinking beings and we can think about how things should go
Yeah.
or how things ought to go, and therefore ensure that we engineer that to happen. So all I'm saying is, the negatives we pointed out, but we need to be conscious and deliberate about it, because that's how we build people, essentially. So yeah, we'll
Okay.
speak about the negatives, let's be constructive, but let's also project the positives, because they also need it.
Interesting. I was going to come to Edem on this. I mean, when it comes to our space, creative space, we've gotten to a world where trends are the thing that is actually making what we think is the best in our space. So for me, I'm looking at it this way. how are we gonna change that narrative? Because whether we like it or not, Robert, like you and I will sit here, two people would do positive, two people would do negative. Which one will trend? Negative will trend. And I must also admit that sometimes even some of the people actually enjoy that negative trend because they think that is what will actually put them out there or make the world know about them. Some start with that and then get to some stage in their lives and feel that, oh, where I've reached now, right now I need to focus on staying positive. But when you started in the beginning, it was something else. It was all about negativity. It was all about trends. It's all about, let's talk about this. Let's say this. Let's say that. So how are we going to do that? Yes, the media has, their job to do that aspect of it. What about the others? Social media is the age now. So how do we go about that? Adam.
So, this is it. Our this it brings us back to the negative bias of the brain. Now, what it does is that it prioritizes threat. So, it's wired in a way that when there is a threat or something which looks like a threat, it's more prioritized. Then again, it focuses on negative stimuli. So we tend to focus more on more negative stimuli, which like criticism, failure, than the positive aspects. Now, these things, what they do is that they increase our stress and anxiety. They increase our stress and anxiety because when you are constantly focusing on such things, they will certainly increase your stress levels and anxiety and decrease your well-being.
Yeah.
So in overcoming that, one, it may happen. So know that negative trend can happen, but you need to find a way to build like a shield, a protection against that. And by doing so, you need to practice gratitude. Regularly, you reflect on the things you are grateful for. Shift the focus to positive. Yes, those things will come, but make sure you are practicing that gratitude. Then you refrain from negative thoughts. You understand? Just be positive. Challenge yourselves positively, and by so doing, you'll be more positive minded than just being easily hurt by some of this negative news. And also, you need to cultivate positive relationships. Make sure that they are because at times, if you are not careful, that some group of friends when they come close to you, they are always making you feel, or they are making you aware of all the negatives happening about you.
Yeah.
Everything, even if something happened, they will try and bring that negative side. Those friends will not help you. Make sure, like in your circles, if you are an artist, you're a brand, make sure that in your circles, there's some who even see some positive from the negative.
Right.
So that it becomes like a shield or a protection for you. Because if it doesn't happen that way, gradually they will make you so. Because they are always about the negative. So they will make you think like, no. There are certain times that even like somebody will send me something thinking that it was said about him or her on a platform and it's negative. I'll look at it and I'll say like, no, there's a certain positive side in this.
Yeah.
And I think we need to pick this side and run with it. And by so doing, you have helped the person to, rather look at the positive side to be able to be strong than just going down. Because like I said earlier, it affects your well-being. Among others, your stress level increases. So by being so negative, you are increasing the person's stress level. So those around these brands and others, let's try and help them reduce the stress level and improve their well-being.
Right. Makes sense, and I hope that we'll all go out in that. As in when we have our conversations, be it on media platforms or anywhere, as you said, Robert, we need to stress that positive aspect when it comes to everybody. I'm not looking at in general. so that
Yeah,
it
I
will.
just quickly want to add to that. You said that trends will feed on the negative, which indeed is true because
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah,
But it is also true that trends feed on positive.
positive too.
When Usain Bolt broke the world record,
Yeah.
everybody was saying it. That's positive. When Black Stars were winning,
Yes.
it was
Positive.
national joy. When we were, trying to almost there, when we're trying to win the World Cup, it was that is positive. That's trending. Like
Yes.
it was positive trend. So all I'm saying is that let's not assume that it's only the negatives that trend.
trend.
The positives also trend. You understand? And so when we have the chance and opportunity to discuss something, even if it's negative, every dark cloud has a silver lining.
All right.
And it takes people who are smart and intelligent to be able to identify the positive in a negative, or take a negative scenario and weave it around and extract positivity from it. Because you see, every failure it can be used as a school book to be able to extract how not to fail, essentially. So you can turn it around. So you can take somebody's failure and analyze it in such a way that you extract the lessons and use that to teach yourself how not to fail. And so by so doing, you're in a position to be able to support and project people positively. So all I'm trying to say is still the onus is always and will always be on us, especially those of us who sit on radio. We're supposed to do responsible journalism because whatever we are doing is part of the entire umbrella of journalism.
Right.
And so if we embrace responsible journalism to that extent, we can and we should be able to project things in a positive light. Even if we're highlighting the negative, let's highlight it in a way that at the end of the day contributes positively within our space. It is necessary. And if we are deliberate enough and we devote time to it, eventually I'm sure we should be able to make sense out of it.
Good morning, Andy.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Is it still raining? Or is it
Just some few splatters, but yeah.
You like to join the conversation?
Why
You
not?
mind? Yes, I believe you were listening when you were coming here. I mean, Stone Boy.
Yeah, Robert was talking plenty English. I'm giving him back his own dose. So no.
Right. So I mean, Stone Boy is in the news, and I think there's an interview online where he says that celebrating mediocrity is hurting our music industry, and he mentioned quite a few things, pull him down, and all those things. So I don't know if you followed it.
Yeah, I think we started this conversation yesterday.
Right.
But it looks like, just as Robert was saying, we always intertwine the mediocrity and
Pull him down. Right.
But after yesterday's conversation, on my way back home, I was thinking about it. How does mediocrity, how do you combine that? Or does it go hand in hand?
No, so again, I think one of the things we're suffering from is how it has been captured by the journalists, so to say.
Yeah.
The topic they chose,
Yes.
the person said multiple things, but
But-
in terms of caption, the caption has been used, like one caption for everything,
Yeah.
and it's, that kind of stuff. So there are
But-
two things, for
but
me, there are two things.
In all things, I think what he said was right. Again, yesterday you also painted a picture that we don't, just as we, as journalists or people who have the mouths to speak, do not project the right things. I think I agree in that category. The reason is, do we talk about, or do we shine light on the good things, on the higher stuff? It looks like, the negative stuff is what we are always enthused about. If you go on Ghana Web right now, just as they need the eyeballs and they need the clicks, they will always give you a caption that will arrest your attention. If it's something well to do, you don't really care. Stoneboy donated to a school.
Yeah.
He gave them desks. So what?
Nobody cares.
Stoneboy slapped Robert Clark. Really? Even if you go to check the story, you must leave a comment. You must have a say. But why can't we celebrate the good things they do? Mediocrity. Yes. Some artists from nowhere who put up a song and Ghanaians will give him all the thumbs up. They will say all the unnecessary stuff. Someone will put up a very good song, very good story, motivate people, yet we won't.
Nobody
We
cares.
won't even give any attention to. For instance, the TGMA is doing something good by motivating some of the musicians. What's it called?
Which one?
The people that are into development, music
Music for development.
music for development.
Right.
So in this case, I look. I don't know why it's not competitive enough.
Even if you are to ask who
Me
won
wa
that-
cash day o.
I'm saying that if you are to ask which artist even won, I bet a lot of people will not even remember.
But that one there, I may not
No,
really blame the people.
Oh,
Again, you see, with that category, I'll fight Chathouse, organizers of the event, because
why?
it looks like they don't really put some level of premium or priority with respect to the noise. When I say noise, I mean noise in a good noise in a good sense,
In a
right?
positive way.
Because I beg you, if I say noise, it may be like, but because it's sometimes it looks like it's the category that is given in hindsight. Like it's got some clandestine idea B, like some secret idea B. Well, we don't really put some attention to it. Maybe that's why a lot of musicians are not really paying attention
attention
to
to
that. Maybe Rob will explain it. Maybe I don't. Well, what do I know? He knows better. So
Oh no. I mean, I'm listening. I mean, because so here's what we have. We have the 5 big awards that are presented on the night. They are always towards the end. You have the new artist of the year. You have record of the year. You have album of the year. You have most popular song of the year, and then you have artist of the year towards the end. We have added music for good to
music for good,
Okay.
Music
not
for
development.
Okay.
Music for good. Music for good is usually presented just before the most popular song of the year
Okay.
at that level. So in terms of even the positioning on the day when it is announced, this is the level at which it comes at. It's the only award that you will get with a little bit of documentary projection on that particular one. All the others, including artists of the year, none of
There's
them has.
nothing
Oh
like
please, no.
I'm coming.
It also has the
No, and then
legendary also has the documentary.
Well, that's a legendary here,
Right.
so that's it. And then you come to the fact that it comes with money,
Yeah.
and then that particular projection is also put out there. So maybe you want more information here, but as it stands now, it has some edge.
Yeah.
It has some edge over the others, so to say. So if you're saying you want more projection, it would be nice.
Okay.
You understand? So back to the thing I'm saying. It would be nice for you to say, oh, you recommend this, you recommend. But almost immediately, if I want to also employ responsible journalism for somebody who is interested in what music can do for the community,
Right.
question is, what are you also doing to highlight it? You understand? Because on your own, you highlighted Artist of the Year. On your own. On your own, you discussed music for new artists. On your own, you discussed some of the artists. In fact, on your own, you look for an artist who didn't win what you wanted them to win, and you discussed it. So, what are your values with respect to music and support for the community? And how did you also pick some of these things that you think are important and projected them? So those are questions we should ask. For me, I'll take the feedback and try to give it extra legs. But really, again, the responsible journalism has to do with some form of fishing out of information and projecting them. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll take the feedback, but again, I'll go back and go like, okay, so what are we also doing to highlight some of these things?
Right. Okay. Andy, I think that's just it.
Right.
And for me, I wish a lot of musicians will actually pay attention to that category. Or
But
try
that category comes with cash.
yes,
oh.
it does. Like I
Yeah,
don't.
but
I
not
don't
even because it comes with cash.
but I mean,
But because you're using the music for
Acting
social
life.
good.
exactly.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
Then the cash is now like, an icing on the cake. Not necessarily because.
So for me, I feel that artists
How you
should.
talking like the cash doesn't really matter?
Well, people need money.
They do.
People need money.
They
So
do.
I mean, you're doing the music, but at the end of the day, I know that whatever I did, I'm being paid for it indirectly.
But you know that even in the past, TGME award recipients had some cash attached.
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
That thing what happened. Can we bring it back?
Hey.
I'm just asking. You have to be.
That would be
have
a
to
lot.
talk for the musicians. You have to talk
that
for the
would be
musicians.
a lot because at the time, if I remember, it was how much? Was it 3,000?
different rates.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
had thousand, but no more do. Back in the day, it was some good money. Even some won cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want cars.
Oh, I mean, things are not the same. Things change
Oh,
over
but
time.
yeah,
but I mean, Robert
it
is
will be back.
doable.
Yeah, I hear you. See, what I like is this: when you say it's doable, then when you are here, then you
Positive side.
exactly, then you say it to corporate Ghana,
Corporate Ghana,
that kind of stuff because
This is
Yeah.
a
So,
form of CSR.
exactly.
Yes.
So it's not just
Yeah.
So you
So
said
maybe
it's okay.
a car company can just wake
That
up and
kind
say
of
that,
stuff.
oh, Robert,
Your mom will be.
we're giving you this car to give to this category.
New artist of the year.
Yes,
I think
we-
Joe B won the last one.
Yeah, right. Oh, you see,
not
so
bad.
corporate Ghana, it's not bad. I mean, you could. I mean, it doesn't have to really be just cars. It could be like other things just to, make it look good.
Innit?
But I like that bit, and I think for this year, was it episode who won that category?
Episode won it.
Episode won it, and tomorrow he'll be here on Daybreak. It's
Oh, really?
yes, I remember I saw him post a lot about it. He was so happy because he felt that the work he's put into that has yielded the results that he wanted. So congratulations to him, and I hope other musicians will take note of it, work towards it, and then see how best they can also do something for themselves. Our next story, we're moving straight to Kojo Cue, who says he gave away all his studio equipment whilst battling depression. Ghanaian rapper Kojo Cue has revealed that during his battle with depression, he gave away all his studio equipment and stepped away from making music. He was speaking on Showbiz A to Z. That's the Showbiz Roundtable discussion. The rapper shared that at the peak of his depression, he lost all desire to be around people or do anything at all. He explained that the situation affected his creativity and his ability to live a normal life. According to the rapper, his decision to give away his studio equipment was a reflection of how detached he had become from everything he loved. The rapper shared that during this time, he turned to therapy for help. He shared that his therapy sessions were about digging deep to understand the root causes of his emotional struggles. Now, let's take a listen to Kojo Cue on this.
I'm talking about not wanting to see anybody, not wanting to do anything, not wanting to talk to anybody at any point in time. I gave away all my studio equipment, stopped recording music, just didn't want to engage with anything, just didn't want to be a part of the day-to-day of life and living. Our sessions were mainly talking about my feelings, why I feel like that, going back in time to also explore certain things that led me all the way to that particular place. But then also teaching me mindfulness, meditation practices, teaching me how to separate things that were actually happening to me from things that I was imagining, and how to be rooted in the now and in reality. Basically, just how to notice when I'm having an episode so that I'll direct myself towards things that calm me down, things that bring me back to reality.
Was this before you released For My Brothers?
No, this was after For My Brothers. And it's funny because
you have Nevermind, which talks about
Yes.
mental health in there.
that's what I was coming to. It's funny because before then I thought, because of my small bouts of depression, I thought I knew what depression was. But that 2-year period made me understand that there are levels to it. There are things that you can deal with by yourself. There are things that you might need to talk to friends or family.
Right, so that was Kojo Cue right there, and I believe that this story, sometimes you're there with people and you don't see them for a while, and Sometimes it's not intentional, but you might not even call to check up to see what they're going through. I believe Kojo Cue is a great rapper. He's a great musician, but I don't think most of us even knew about it. Gentlemen, I don't know whether you knew about it or you ever heard about it and we usually hear it after they've gone through it and they want to share the story to also educate on others. But depression is in the industry. Lots of musicians have been speaking about it. Some of them have been through it, and I know my brother Andy has, one way or the other, has called a few people to even offer support to them in a way. Sometimes even in conversation, just talking to them and, making them feel okay. But the root cause of it, how educated are we when it comes to depression, especially for our creative industry space? And this goes to all of us here.
I think, we are all, I think that was a Saturday or so, I attended a mental health program at the conference center. And prior to that, I'd also watched some presentation by one of the groups in our church on mental health from a professional. And I realized that we are all prone to mental health. What we need to do is we need to pay attention to the various moods. When it comes to the mental health, there is the anxiety disorders. Where you have your condition, general anxiety. You need to pay attention to those things. Then there is the mood swing disorders or mood disorders, and that is where depression comes in. So, some of these things, if you are not careful, you are upgrading. Then you go to the trauma and stress related. And what we need to understand is that it could either be genetic. We have genetic factors where, if your family, you have a history in your family, then you even quickly need to, constantly seek some support because it's already in the system. However, there are some which are not already in the system, and they are environmental. And environmental factors in areas like trauma, stress, social stress, and some kind of environment within which you live in. At times your environment, there are people who are having mental problems or mental condition because of where they work, their workspace. That situation around them has led them to having some serious, mood disorders. And they go into depression, some bipolar. So, at times, you need to check some of these. Which do you fall in? Is it your environment? Is it something which is genetic or lifestyle? No, the lifestyle also comes in where you have lifestyle choices, your diet, your sleep, among others, can influence. So, if you are able to notice where this is pinning you down, one, you do the self-care, because if it's about workplace among others, some people easily quit and they'll say, for my mental health, I'm not doing this again. So by doing so, you've saved yourself from aggravating from the stage in which you are. Then, if you are doing everything and it's still not happening, you have changed the lifestyle, your environment, maybe you don't think you have any genetic problem, seek specialized support. And I'm happy that he said he went for therapy and he had sections and it was able to, help, change his situation. And we need to, educate like we are doing today. He has brought it up. You don't keep it in you. You've brought it up. And gradually it will help. And at times when you are sharing, you have to be careful the people you share the information with. Because if you are not careful, they will increase the situation. A lady shared her situation there, and everybody was sad that she had this disorder, the depression. And with the depression and bipolar issue because of something which was happening at work. So she confided in one of her colleagues, and quickly the colleague went to expose the situation to top management, and she got fired.
Increasing the
Yeah. And she got fired. So now, I mean, the institutions which were there took her details and they want to take it up because they thought it was unfair to her. And for like 10 years, she had to struggle to be able to make ends meet when she was battling bipolar. So we also need to be careful the people we tell and how we tell them so that they don't further aggravate our situation for us.
So I want to believe that's why sometimes some people will just prefer, like they'll just be quiet about it, and maybe after
Go
they
and
come
see
and share.
specialists.
They come and discuss
If you
it
don't
after.
tell anybody, go to the specialist and seek support.
Creatives, Robert, the way you
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if I should tell you I'm seeing a psychiatrist, what will come to your mind?
what about them?
Exactly. And the moment you say that, even though it's coming from a space of ignorance, the stigma is going to quickly come to
Yeah.
play. And your boss is going to think, nah, who should hire somebody who is not working?
who's not
When
correct.
there's a lot of people literally looking for a job position, that kind of stuff. But you can understand exactly why they behave that way. But I think that for the purposes of this conversation, it would be nice to situate the conversation properly by understanding what depression is, just so that it helps us to be able to further expatiate the convo. So if it's about severe despondency, right, or dejection, and so or you can say it's the feeling of low spirits, feeling
That's-
of loss,
I think,
low
these
spirits,
are
complete
one of
loss,
the major
knowing
things.
that there is no hope, that kind of stuff. And the question here is, why would somebody feel that way? You may lose a couple of times, but when it is sustained over a particular period of time, nothing seems to work for you. Everything that you hold dearly, at the moment they don't seem to work, or there's no hope, you feel like life has lost its meaning, or you are disconnected from your center, then that's it. And that's when because why would a musician give up the tools they use in working, literally
working.
give it, like, why are you giving it up? Why are you going to? You are going to unfamiliar grounds. You've left everything you love. It means that something was not working, or you expected something, and for some reason, over a sustained period, it just wasn't happening. And so, you may want to look at the factors. So while there are multiple factors, whether genetic and stuff, like I want to focus on the environmental, and stuff like that, So to answer your question, did we know? I had no idea. And there are several others that
I'm
would
sure we
certainly
don't
not have
know.
an idea
Yeah.
about. I know for a fact some of the female artists
Yeah.
in some conversations that I've been privy to hearing clearly points out that some of them are not too mentally healthy when it comes
Yeah.
to these things, because they seem not to be able to succeed as much as they want. There's always a disparity between their hope, what their expectations, and usually what they get in return. And when these things are sustained over a particular period, we have these challenges coming through. So if we are speaking about artists, I almost immediately want to get into the space of the female artists, because it's a tough one out there.
Yeah, it
It's very,
is.
very tough. And I don't even want to begin to proffer in, like, to begin to suggest that I have solutions to this, but I think that everybody will need to find a way to toughen themselves up. If you need to find some conditions, like friends who are able to constantly speak to you and all of that, you need to do that. And if you are looking for one of the best insurances to these things, is to have faith. Yeah, because I mean, faith, you always find a scripture that can give you the reason to keep going, so to say. But it not be easy.
It's
There
not
are
at
people.
all.
I don't want to suggest that. I don't want to say that they've gone through that if they haven't come to say it. You understand what I'm saying? And you know them, and some of them, it's not been an easy task at all. They've had to battle it, and when a musician fails, it's not like I was driving and then the driving didn't go well. No, it feels, if I'm a musician and it doesn't work, it's like my whole person has been rejected. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you put your image on the line, you put your
everything on the
everything,
line.
and you've been rejected. Like, people are not listening to your music and whatever you have done. That's like complete, like life has just turned its back on me, that kind of thing, you know. So when these artists talk about criticism and these things also play a huge role in this particular thing, you know, mental health for artists, it's huge. And we need to be, and sometimes you want to satisfy your emotions about what you feel like saying, and so you say it anyhow, and yet somebody's at home hustling from speeches that you have. I think that this is the reason why probably they said remove the speck from your eye before you even remove the speck from somebody's eye. I'm not surprised that there are a lot of scriptures in the Bible concerning these things. Judge not, so that you shall not be judged, and stuff like that. So I think that it comes back to we being sensitive and empathizing with these people and understanding clearly what they go through. If some of them are willing, I also want to say Kojo Cue, congratulations. I'm like, kudos to him for even coming to share, because it's not everybody who comes to share. And when you have these open conversations, it just makes us see the human aspect of these people, and therefore empathize with them and be able to, you know, play right by them, because at the end of the day, Charlie, it's life, and we need to be able to protect it. Killing is not just taking a knife and then, you know, launching it to somebody's system. Your words can also kill somebody, and essentially, you know, that's what it is. So it's a huge topic for conversation.
Right.
We should keep on having that conversation.
Andy, would you want to add that briefly?
Yeah, briefly. I think Robert has said it all, especially for an artist who wants to be in a spotlight or to make hits. There are several musicians who may have had one hits. These one hit wonders. If any artist wants to make a huge comeback, and it's very difficult making it, there is a tendency, or there is a slighter chance of depression. I was almost there. Yeah, because I would come to work and look.
And they say it properly once the headlines.
If you want, thanks for
We want the headlines, so say
thanks for drawing my attention. So that'll be all.
No. I almost had depression.
See, Adam,
No,
I
you
do
say
body
I You see, it is in him.
And the way that I almost got there too can mean something.
It can mean
Especially
something.
looking at the way
So
it's
say it
raining.
well so that we can.
Looking at the way it's raining there, I almost got there.
It can be scary.
I was almost. Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sure,
it
so,
can happen
I
to anyone, be it a relationship. I mean, we've seen it. Our brother was struggling to, I don't mean to open old wounds, but struggling to see his children, having issues with his ex.
Yeah.
He won't be permitted to see the children.
Right.
All of a sudden, depression set in. Same another. Now we're blaming it on using cannabis or using weed, and that is causing his problems. But there are deep-rooted issues regarding relationships. He wants to see his son. He doesn't know what is really happening. All of a sudden, depression set in, and because of the substance abuse, well, we've all attributed that to the abuse or to the substance. People are going through it. People, me, I almost got there.
We have to talk about
I
it
suffered a broken
sometime.
heart, and look.
So in your case, it was.
It was a broken heart.
I mean, what I'm saying is, I mean, it's an assembly of too many things. Do you understand? It may not necessarily be, I'm a musician, I want to make a hit again. An athlete would want to break his own record for the fact that he cannot, can cause problems. Anyone can suffer depression. Even people on social media can make you depressed.
Yeah. Just by their
They can just
comments.
frustrate you, and then I was talking to a bigger musician who wanted this is someone who has given us hits like back to back or from way back. And I was asking him, Brad, do we go see this producer? I can take you this, why don't you? He says, look, Ghanaians, if you are not very careful, they'll make you stagnant. And now can you imagine for a whole musician, a big musician like me, why would people want to put pressure on me? No, me, I work on my own terms. And look, if he had not convinced himself that, okay, this and that is what he wants to do on his terms, he would have got there. Again, he sought remedy at a prayer center.
Yeah.
And that one to Wahala. Sorry?
Wahala.
Yes, I said faith. I mean, like
Yeah.
spiritual.
You understand? So people go through too many things. Someone would want to drive. I'm speaking to people. Someone would drive from from Accra to Cape Coast and back. Only she just to
Sanity.
just for
Relax,
sanity,
yeah.
just to cool down, because when he's driving, he listens to his favorite songs, and so he can't sit in the car without doing anything.
New environment.
So he would drive all the way to Cape Coast or get to Winnipeg, just a roundabout. You just go and turn and come back.
And then come
Why okay? People are suffering.
On the back of that, I think for me, the most important lesson I want to pick from this is the fact that the conditions that necessitates or fuels depression will always exist.
Yeah. It will.
But if we can master self-communication, like how to talk to yourself.
It's not that easy.
It's not easy.
I know.
Robert.
I'm not saying it is.
Robert, in my case, do you know what saved me?
What?
My therapy was music.
If you can master how to use music.
Yeah.
If you can master.
But how many
the
people
benefits of
can
faith.
master that?
many
Because,
people
for
can
instance,
master-
someone sought his refuge in driving on a long journey. I sought refuge in listening to music. And so I'll come on radio and I'll play my favorite songs in the morning and motivate. While I was motivating people, I was motivating myself.
Good. And so all I'm saying is that let's list
Sometimes you
to the
find
best
what
of
works
our
for you.
abilities.
Yeah.
Let's list the number of ways that can help people build back. Yes, how many people can master self-communication doesn't mean that we shouldn't mention it. We'll mention it.
A remedy for them may not be remedy for
Exactly.
you.
That's what I'm saying. Let's list them.
Let's
And I
list
tell
So
you-
them
maybe
and
yours
then-
is music. Somebody else will be hanging around with friends, old
Or
friends,
driving
or
around.
going back to family that you have lost, contact with,
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
or pray, or
Time to-
let's list them.
And at times, what you love doing.
I realized,
You
in
may
my
be-
case, I realized prayer was not even working for me.
So
It wasn't.
Yeah, it's different.
I'll go to church and cry, and I'll ask myself,
Then they hear me.
hey, why am I okay? What's up?
And at times, you even realize that some of the things you take so much interest in doing, you don't want to do them again.
Anymore.
Like the case of
Kojo Cue.
Kojo
He
Cue.
gave all the.
is that he had to resort to gardening?
No, he gave out his.
No, there was something about
He
him
sought remedy. He sought,
from gardening.
The sessions they had.
Yeah, the
that
sessions they
will
had.
help him,
Yeah,
stuff
digging
like
up
that.
deep to
So-
understand the root causes of his emotional struggles. So, yeah.
No, Doreen, I also want to say big ups to K9s. He's doing fantastic work. The young guy who came, I told him about being aggressive about promotion.
Who's K9s?
K9s, the guy who went on Adom, the Showtime, and they said, he said Shatta has mentioned his name in the song.
Oh, okay.
K9s, but he realized that it was a security company he was
Right.
referring to in the song.
Okay.
Benjamin Bokobi's artists. They I've seen them aggressively over the weekend doing a lot of promotion in Kumasi, and I was really happy. And imagine artists going all out like that. All the big stations in Kumasi,
Okay.
Love FM everywhere, and I want to encourage them to keep up the good work. So big
right.
shout Benjamin Bokobi and
Okay.
K9s for what you're doing.
This is where we wrap it all up. And, a very big thank you to you, Robert, for coming through this morning. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Andy. And, of course, thank you to you for doing the listening. Big, massive shout-outs to DJ Fantastic, Nee Apnes, Debbie Sway, Mr. Hagler. Thank you so much. And also to our amazing...
This is Hits.